All right. Hello again. In this lecture now we will talk about the identifiers. So what is an identifier? When we are writing a program, we actually identify many things. Identify our data and identify our actions in the memory. So we give names to our data, to our actions, to our functions, and but there are some rules and also traditions that we need to follow when we are when we are identifying our data. Like, first let me talk about this part. What is identifying part? Let me use this board. So when we are doing any calculation, let's say I want to calculate the the price that I need to pay when I go to a grocery and I bought some items. Okay. So what do we do when we are doing this kind of a calculation? Like we literally take a paper and a pen and then we write it. Let's say that this board is my paper, and then I can say, okay, how many bananas I got? Like 3, and then I will write in a messy way on purpose. Okay, then I'll say, okay, how many kilos? Well, it is 5. Then what did I got? I got 2 kilos of, I don't know what is that it is. Let's say tomato, and then its price is 4. Then I need to do the calculation, and I need to say, okay, I need to multiply this 3 and 5 plus 2 times 4, and it's equal to whatever it is. Then I say, okay, I need to pay this. So now the thing is, if I use this paper or the whiteboard, in a very messy way, what will happen is that at some point I will just forget. I'll say, okay, yeah, there's a 3, 5, 2, 4. What are those? I have no idea, because I don't know. I didn't just name anything. So this will be pretty hard for me to do the explanation. That's why, and similar to in the programs, what we also do is we write the programs, and also we need to fix it. Maybe there's a mistake, then maybe we want to update it in the 6 months later. But if I just say, okay, 3, 5, 4, 2, I don't know, I have no idea what those numbers mean if I don't give a name. So what I can do is, well, if I want to use this calculation later, or maybe I'll go to the home and then say, okay, I paid 23 reals, and this is what I did. Then a person will look at, okay, what are you saying? This is 3, 5, 2, 4. What are they? But if I say that, okay, well, this is actually the banana quantity. Okay, this is the quantity of tomato, and it's the price of banana and the price of tomato. So I identified these numbers. I gave a name to them, and then if I just give this paper, and then I can say that even also this is my total. So this 23 is my total. Then people will understand, okay, at least what I'm trying to do. Maybe even though I didn't put them in an order, one is there, one is there, but still people will understand, okay, now I got what you're trying to do. What is this 5? What is this 4? We do exactly the same thing when we are writing a program. But our paper or the whiteboard is our memory. And then we do all the calculations in the program. So that's why we define our data. And in some cases, I can also even say that, okay, this is how you calculate the total price for the items that you bought. This is my approach to do that. Maybe later on, I will use that same approach again later on, so that I can also give it a name to that approach, which is called also function. So I can also give my methods to do some calculations, and I can also use it later on. So we basically identify many things. But we will see basically how we identify it, and then how we assign values. When we are assigning a value, now we have to follow a couple of things. First, when I said this, the following statement, you will find it very easy. Why are you claiming this? But actually, it's so important in the coding, which is I have to give a meaningful name to my identifiers. Like, when I say banana or so, I could also say that, okay, this is not banana, because I'm just writing it in my computer. I could say X, I could say Y, and then maybe this is Z and so on. But then people will say, okay, what is X? What is Y? People will not be able to understand it. And when we are writing a program, we have to, we really wanted to make it readable. Why? Because what usually happens is that you write a program and then you test it. And then in most of the cases it doesn't work. There's a problem. So you go back to your program again and you have to read your program again and then find a mistake. But if I use some messy names with no meaning, it will be harder for me to find the problem. And also, we write the programs also for the other people. Like maybe you are working in a group project, and this is how we do in really big software projects. You never it's so hard to finish a big project by yourself, so we work together. So when I write the code, I also expect others to be able to read the code and understand. So that's why giving a meaningful name is extremely important. And also, well, this is a tradition or you have to follow, but if I just give it a name like X, it will be still valid. Like it means that the Python will be able to run it. But there are some things that we cannot do. Python does not allow it. Like the first one is that we cannot give a Python keywords. Some words have some specific meanings, like for, while, def, if, and so on and so on. These words have a specific meaning for the Python. So we cannot give these names to our identifiers, to our data, to our functions. And also, when we are giving names, we can use all the letters. And we can use numbers, but if it is at the end, we cannot put it at the beginning. Like I cannot say, I don't know, 5x. This would be invalid. I can say x5, but I cannot say 5x. So it cannot start with a number, and it can contain an underscore. An underscore, it is valid, but it cannot contain any. It cannot contain other characters like dots, dollar sign, and so on. So I cannot do that, but I can put the underscore, and it cannot contain a space. So why do I mean like why should I need a space or thing in that sense? Well, thinking in this way, let's say I want to say the banana, but it's not like the banana, it's the quantity of banana. So for the variable name, I don't want to say that banana is 5. I want to say that quantity of banana. So I actually have 3 words, but then I cannot put a space actually. This is not allowed. So what usual people do is quantity underscore of underscore banana. So instead of space, I put underscore. So this is for also valid. And I also have to be very specific, be careful that Python is case sensitive. What it means is, if I write first name and n is capital, or I write first name but n is a lowercase, all of them are lowercase. Well, semantically they mean same thing, first name, yes. But from Python perspective, they have a completely different variables, completely different identifiers. So Python does not look at the semantics of the name, it just checks which letter did you use, and uppercase letters, uppercase n and lowercase n are completely different letters from Python perspective. Okay, so we also have to be careful about that. Now let's go think about these identifiers. I'll first do with you, and then do a couple of them, and then ask you the remaining ones. So the total sales, is it a valid one? Well, yes, it is. We are just using letters, so I can give a name like this. Or total underscore and then the sales, is it valid? Yes, I can use sales or underscore for that. For the dot, total dot sales, can I use a dot? No, I cannot. So this will be an invalid. If I try to use it, I'll just get an error. Or can I say fourth quarter sales? What do you say? It's not valid because I cannot start with a number. it will be invalid. Now total sale dollar sign, is it valid? Again, no. I cannot put a dollar sign in a language and then underscore then total sales. Is it valid? Yes, it is valid. I can put this underscore in all places. That will be valid. Now, can you please answer this? Which one of the following variable name is valid or correct? Which one? The second one. Cool. Yes. So I cannot say cool elephant with a space because it has a space. I cannot use that. That's 66%. I cannot use it because it starts with a number. Fatima.hamad, it contains a dot. I cannot use it. Or WA96A dollar sign. I cannot use it because it contains a dollar sign. But the only thing is that, yes, I can use a lazy monkey name. And for naming, well, I can say, let's say, these are the good namings that you can use, like spam x, spam23, underscore speed. These are valid. But I cannot say again 23 spam. It's invalid. Dash sign, it is invalid. Var.12, it is invalid. And also, when I have these ones like spam all lowercase, spam s is uppercase, and spam all of them are uppercase. From Python perspective, these are three different variables. They are not same. So again, it's not checking the semantics. It's just looking at the which letters you are using. Now, this is also an example. Like, what happens if we use really bad naming? Let's say that this is my code. Is it valid? Yes, it is valid. Like, I'm just using letters and some numbers. Numbers are in between, so it is valid. But my code is like X1Q3Z9OCD is 35, and then X1Q3Z9AFD is 12.50. Well, then I'm multiplying it and then printing that. If you give this kind of a code to a person, or even for you, like you'll say, okay, what is this? Like, what am I doing here? Or what are you doing here? And also, it's so easy for me to do a mistake, like, because OCD, AFD, like, if you just put a typo there, then your program will be probably a different thing. So instead of doing this, well, you could also say A is equal to 35, B is equal to this, C is equal to A times B. Now it is much more readable. And I'm just trying on, it's easier to understand, okay, I have two numbers, I'm multiplying them and then printing their results. So it helped me a lot to read it in a much easier way. But it's not helping me about why am I doing this? So instead of doing that, if I just say this, the same operation, but I just change the naming, like ours is 35, rate is 12.50, and pay is hours times rate, and now I print pay. Then I don't need to do any explanation to anyone. Okay, this is my code, and then they will look at it. Okay, you want to calculate the total sale, the total payment that you have to do for this number of hours. Okay, but so I don't need to do any more explanation. But if I had given this code, A is B, A is this, B is this, and then C is A times B, I also need to explain it. Yeah, I wrote this code, but actually I'm trying to calculate the payment that we have to do. So if you use a good naming, then the code will be much easier to understand for you to find the errors and for others to be able to use your code and update it. Do you have any questions so far? Then let's proceed. So we're talking about the identifiers. An identifier can be a variable name or a function name or an object name. We will might or might not see what is an object in this course, but anyway, so we can use identifiers for these things. Now first, let's dive into variables. So what is a variable? A variable is basically a name that represents a value in the memory. So we use it to access our data in the memory and to change and use that data in our operations. So why do we need it? Well, memory is my, let's say, my paper that I do the calculations, that I keep all the data. But memory is actually a very technical thing. I mean, it's a very huge space actually. Like, it's not like an A4 paper that you can see everything. It's contains all your data, like your all data about your operating systems, all the data related to your, I don't know, your web browser, open web pages and so on. Everything is actually kept there. So it's actually, and it is has an addresses, like you keep, every data is kept in an address in a specific location and so on. But as a programmer, it's so hard for me to know those technical details. I mean, I can, but it will be hard. It will be very unnecessary for me because I want to think bigger things, not to be drawn in those technical details. And I don't want to memorize, okay, how that memory is managed and so on, where that specific data is located, what is its location in the memory. So instead of doing that, I use variables. So what I do is, like, instead of trying to know all these technical details, I will say, let's say, age is 29. Then that's the only thing that I need to know to access that data in the future. Like, whenever I say age, then the computer will bring me that data from the memory. So I don't need to know exactly where it is located in the memory. Is it in the beginning? Is it in the middle? Oh, I don't care. Age is like also for me to find that data. And when so we will say that it is variable. So why is that? Well, it's not a constant value. I can change it. Its value can change. It can vary. But how can I first assign a value to do that? Well, for that one, well, this is called the assignment statement. When I say age equals sign 29, it means that we use equal sign, but it means actually assign meaning. Like, take this 29 value and assign it to the variable age. So in mathematics, it might be a kind of a different, like if I can say x is equal to 3, it's like a logical operator. Is it equal to 3 or so? But this is an assignment operation, okay? So we put the data 29 to the variable x. Or I can also do these kind of things like x is equal to 3.9 times x times 1 minus x. So basically, it doesn't have to be always a number or a very specific value in that. I can put here an expression, a calculation by itself. But what will happen is that we will first do the calculation here and then put the value there. So it is still also valid. But basically, a variable name and then equal sign, and then either a value directly, like 29, 30, whatever, or an expression, a calculation by itself. And when we do this, well, again, I can immediately use it in any place. Like I said that age is 29, and I can print age so that it will print 29. It will print the value that this age variable is referenced. But if I, in my code, if I say age with single quotes in between, then Python. In this semester, I'm also teaching Java. That's why I'm keep confusing that. If I say Java, I meant Python, okay? In Python, if you put these single quotes in between, then Python will think that, okay, this is not a variable, this is a string value. So if I say print in quotes age, it will not print 29, but it will print age, A-G-E. So these are different. So for the variable names, we should never put them in quotes if you want to use their value. Do you have any questions so far? All right. Now, as I said, its name is variable. Its value can change, can vary. So throughout the process. So what happens is that when I first run this code, let's say that we have these 3 lines of code. I will delete this first. X is 12.2. It means that, okay, I will put this 12.2 in the memory. So I will write here 12.2. This is what happened. Then I will run y is equal to 14. So I declare a variable and put 14 in that. So this is how my memory would look like. I have x and y. I mean, logically, how it would look like. I have x and y. One of them is 12.2 and then 14. Then I said that, okay, x will be 100. I need to change it. It should be now 100. Then I run this code, x is equal to 100. And what will happen is Python will delete this, or Python will put 100, replace that value. So the value of x is not anymore 12.2, it will be 100. So let me show that from my code. If I say x is equal to 5, okay, then I will print x, it will print 5. But then if I change x to 10, and then I print it again, then it will now print 10. Well, this is the interactive mode. If you want to see it in a script mode, maybe it will be easier even to understand. So if I say x is equal to, I'll say x is equal to 5, then I will print x. Then I'll say x is equal to 10, and then I'll print x again. What will be the result? The result will be 5 and 10. So I set first 5, then it will print 5. Then I set it to 10, then it will print 10. So the value will be just replaced by the new variable. Now when I'm telling this, perhaps you might have this idea that, okay, why are you telling these very easy stuff? Like, okay, it will be replaced. The reason is that I want you to internalize things. Now, currently, what you are doing is actually, you are doing a very valuable thing. You are learning many little easy things. But the memorization of these things is not the main talent that you will get. But our target is that we will want you to use these little information to solve big problems. Like in mathematics, addition sounds pretty an primitive operation. You just add these two numbers. But we use that operation to solve that addition operation to solve big mathematical problems. So you have to first know that what is an addition. Currently, this is what we are doing, okay? So if you are thinking, okay, this sounds very easy, yes, it might sound easy, but memorization is not the part of this, our goal. Later on, we will want you to use that information to solve this problem, so that we need these kind of details, okay? And when we are assigning values, we can say, let's say size is equal to 5, it will be valid. But if I say 5 is equal to size, if I just change it, it will be illegal. So at the left side of the assignment, there should be always a variable, and the right side should be either a variable or a value or an expression. But then this will be a valid. What I mean by this is, again, I'll go to my code again. So I can say x is equal to 5. I can say x 5 plus 3. Then it will be 8. Or I can say even x plus 3. Then it will be, what will be the value of print now? This is my question for you. If I hit the enter, what will be the output? So I run this. X is 5. X is 5 plus 3. X is x plus 3. What will be the output? 11. Why is it 11?
Second x.
Mm-hmm.
5 plus 3, then we added plus 3.
Yes, correct. So what happened is, I first set it to 5. Then I replace it with 5 plus 3, 8. From now on, the value of it is 8. Then I say, now it is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. So I put the 11 here, then the result will be 11. Do you have any question? But I cannot say 11 should be x. If I say that, I will get an error message. This is invalid. And if I have, let's say I need 3 variables, x, y, z, and in the beginning all of them will be 0. Well, what I could do is, I can either do in one way, which is, let me also show it here. I could say x is 0, y is 0, and z is 0. That would be valid. All of them will be 0. And maybe we can see it in this way. I can put x, y, z, so it will print all zeros. But let's say that I want to set them, all of them, to 1. Okay? When we are writing program, usually this is one of our main motivations, that we are actually very lazy. Lazy in typing, lazy doing in some easy stuff, because we want to solve bigger problems. Like, we want to develop a ChatGPT. We want to develop this huge platform, social media platform. So I need to use my intellectual power for those bigger problems, not to thrown into these details. So I'm actually pretty lazy in typing. So therefore, in many programming languages, you'll see these kind of shortcuts also. Like, I can also say this in this way. Then all of them will be 1. Of course, there's a technical reason behind that. When we do an assignment, it actually returns also a value 5. So when I say this, what is happening is actually I set z to 1. But that code returns also 1. So that's why y also becomes 1. And that assignment returns also 1. That's why x is also 1. But this is a technical detail. But you can just know that if you want to set the same value for all these variables, you can also do it in one line. All right.